All right, so we're talking about 10 in-demand jobs that pay pretty well and that are going to be in demand for a while. And that honestly, many of these I hear people asking, hey, do you know somebody who does this or somebody who does this, like over and over and over again, which is part of how I know that these things are in demand. And so this is the continuation of part 1 of this video, and I will have part 1 above, and I definitely recommend checking that out because we cover a couple of things that I think you're gonna need in order to best digest what we're talking about here. But assuming that you've already seen that, let's get to it. So next on this list is being a social media manager. And as we still have many of these brick and mortar businesses just finally starting to take social media a little bit seriously, there's more and more of a demand for social media managers. And while being really good at your craft and really skilled at what you're doing is always the best way to command the highest price in the marketplace, the reality is that many of these businesses, the old brick and mortar businesses just starting to get online really and starting to use social media, their threshold is really low. You know, they might just need to know how to create a Facebook page and some really, really simple things. And so if you have any desire to do that, there is a big demand for social media managers these days. And with that demand, because this is a sought after position, there are a lot of people who want to do it. Anything you can do to differentiate yourself and educate yourself on how to actually grow a social media following is going to be a lot of value to any of these businesses that you're trying to work with. All right, next on the list is to be a Kindle author. And the Kindle platform, which is the little e-reader thing, and mine actually needs to be charged right now. It's where self-published authors like you and I can take a Word doc of a book that we just wrote, upload it to Amazon, have it be on the Kindle store within the next couple days and be selling. Sure, there's a little bit more to it than all that, but this really is a simple process, which is why this Kindle platform has exploded in the last few years. And I got my first taste of this when I actually took a really long blog post that I wrote and converted it into a Kindle ebook and uploaded it. And since then, it's had thousands of downloads. And while there are tons of Kindle authors making a full-time living, that's probably going to be a stretch for most people. But even if you can only make a few $100s a month, it's almost completely passive income, which is really, really nice. I've talked about that in some other videos that I'll have linked above. But basically, anytime I can do work one time and get paid over and over again, that's a good thing in my book. And so if you're interested in exploring this Kindle author path, a good friend of mine, Joe Nicoletti, who I actually interviewed in another video that I did, he has a course, and it's actually a really cheap course and a really good one that you can check out. I'll have that linked in the description down below. That'll be a great primer for you if you want to get started. And next on the list is a web developer. And basically this is a coder, this is a programmer, somebody who has some good technical skills to understand how all these pieces work together beyond my understanding. Over the years of running a website, I have run into many challenges where I really needed a web developer. And some of these things I've tried to do myself and spent 10 hours trying to do it and hack my way through it and Google it and figure it out. And meanwhile, I finally got to the point where I called the web developer and he did it in half an hour. And so clearly this is something that I'm not exactly cut out for, but if you are, this is a really in-demand job. It actually is one of the top 10 most in-demand jobs in the USA for the next 10 years, I think I saw in one article I read. And the word of mouth thing can work really well here as well. So for example, in my niche, in the personal finance niche, I have heard of 1 or 2 developers' names getting passed around over and over and over again because everybody asks, hey, I need a web developer. Who do I call? Who do you know? And everybody's recommending the same people over and over again. And so these guys have built really solid businesses with so many clients because they do good work and they're in an industry, in a niche that's just really in demand. All right, next on the list is doing this. Be a YouTuber. Let's do it. And yes, as you might expect, YouTube is a good amount of work, but it's really fun. I love it. I absolutely love making videos. And you don't have to be on video. Like, this is something that I think a lot of people are confused about when they think, well, if I'm on YouTube, I have to be on camera. You actually don't. There are tons of YouTube channels who never have their face on camera, never even have their voice on camera, but are making creative videos in a way that are helping people solve problems. And like I mentioned in the previous video is not going away anytime soon. There is a lot of growth ahead still for video, and this is a great place to be. There is a course that I took when I kind of got started on YouTube that helped a lot, and so I'll have that linked up down below so you can check that out if you're interested in going down this path. And real quick, just a heads up, we are about to give you number 10, but I want to say I actually have 3 more after that, kind of honorable mentions, if you will, that I'll get to right after this one. Next on the list is creating an online course. And And I mentioned in one of my other videos about 5 income streams that I created, that one of them is a course that I've created. And if you notice from many of the things in this list, I actually pointed you to online courses. And the reason is that this is one of the best ways to learn. And so I think about how much money I spent for college, my 4-year college education. I think I spent somewhere in the ballpark of $50,000, $60,000. And so even after spending all that money and spending 4 years in college to get that degree, I still had a hard time finding a job out of college, let alone a good paying job, let alone one I actually really enjoyed. Meanwhile, with all the online courses popping up that are really specific and targeted towards a specific skill set, you can take many of these courses for a few $100s. You can be done with them in a week or two, and you can instantly take what you learn and apply it to developing that skill and begin making money right away. I'm not at all against college education. I think there are career paths that makes the most sense, and it's the best way to learn for that particular career path. But what we're discovering is that there are a whole bunch of different career paths that actually are better suited towards more specific online education. And the beauty of that is that an online course creator like you or I can create something right now. We can have it up next week live, selling it to people, and we can update it in 3 months. Whereas with a lot of college curriculum, it's a struggle to stay current and relevant and not be behind. I mean, if you just have a smartphone, you can shoot some videos really easily. And if your course doesn't lend itself to that, maybe it's like a screen recorder on your computer where you're just doing a voiceover thing. And again, I've even seen courses without any video at all that are just text-based courses. And so you can sell something like this on some skill that you have, something unique. Think really, really unique and really, really specific when you do it. That's your competitive advantage, that you're targeting a really, really small group of people. And this whole process used to be so much more difficult just a few years ago when I created my first course, but thankfully it's gotten so much easier. And I will point you to the platform that I use for all my courses, and it's really my favorite way to do it because it's so simple and it's just quick and easy, which I like. So I'll have that linked up down in the description below. All right, on to the kind of bonus 3 honorable mentions that I promised you. And so first of those is being a copywriter. And this is a writer, but it's a writer who writes sales pages. And so a friend of mine actually spent $12,000 to pay a copywriter to write his sales page. And basically what this was is a copywriter came in and rewrote his whole sales page and explained why people should buy the product, why they need it, and stuff like that. And while $12,000 sounds like a ton of money, it actually ended up making him way, way more than $12,000. And so he gladly was paying $12,000 to do that. Now, like I mentioned in the first video, anytime you can help a business owner make more money without taking up any more of his time, you are onto something. And that's where this copywriter position falls in. And so just a normal writer writing an article isn't going to be able to command those prices, but a copywriter who can do something and directly impact the revenue of the business is onto something big. All right, next on the list is becoming a full-time speaker. And I actually have a friend of mine who was a full-time speaker for years and years and years, traveled all around the country, sometimes up to 50, 60 times a year, just speaking. And he has a course where he teaches you exactly what he did, how he grew his business, how he got gigs, and how you can do the same thing. So I'll have that linked up down below for anybody who might be interested. And last on the list is blogging. And this is actually my bread and butter. This is what I've done for the last 10 years or so full time. And I've loved it. It's been so good. But it is more than just writing articles. There's a lot more involved. And if this is something you're interested in, I actually have a free course to get you started on the whole thing. And then we have some paid courses as well if you're serious and kind of want to dive in, but I'll have links to those down below as well. All right, so now I want to hear from you. What other jobs should be added to this list? What other in-demand jobs are you thinking about? Or are you aware of? Let's get them down in the comments so that everybody else can see them. And if you found this helpful, I'd love it if you could leave us a like to let me know. That would mean a lot. And if you're new to our channel, my name is Bob Lotich, and what we do here is we talk about practical ways to kind of put more money in your pocket, and then we talk about timeless biblical principles on how to manage it wisely. And so if that resonates with you, consider subscribing so you can hear from us as we create more stuff. But that's all for today, so have a great rest of your day. Adios.